Hello and welcome to a brand new supply chain focused edition of Inside the Pot. Today I'm joined by Mark Herriman, Head of Sales and Corporate Operations at PheroSyn, a company who are developing and supplying a unique alternative method of targeting and controlling the pests in our pulse crops. So I suppose the best way to start this is to ask you, what is PheroSyn? What is it you guys do?
Okay, so we are probably the best way to word it. We are a new startup. We spun out of Rothamsted Research back in 2020, and we focus on pheromone-based pest monitoring, pest control. So looking at novel pheromones and how we reduce the use of traditional pesticides in agriculture.
Brilliant. And what do you mean when you say pheromones?
So pheromones are a type of chemical that insects use to communicate across the natural world. They're naturally existing substances created in nature, and by utilizing pheromones in different ways, we can actually use those to control and monitor pest populations.
Right. And so you are creating synthetic pheromones, and how exactly do you do that? I'm guessing that is a complicated process, at least in my head it is.
It is. So we have a very dedicated team of scientists that work for us. We're strongly back to Rothamsted Research, where we originally started, and their crop protection teams here. So, but yes, it requires full chemistry labs to identify those pheromones, see what they're doing, and then look at the routes we class as how we actually recreate that using synthetic chemistry.
Right. And so how would a farmer or agronomist use such a synthetic pheromone on their own crops?
So if we're talking about peas or any legume crops in particular, then we have products that are commercialized for pea midge, which is a pest for sort of UK and Europe, and also the pea and leaf weevil, which is more of a North American pest. And what we can do, people are looking at these pests in different ways. So by using pheromones, we can place a series of traps across a field. We can then monitor manually at the moment the number of pests that are going into that trap that are being attracted by the pheromone. And once those thresholds are reached, the farmer and the agronomist can take the appropriate action under their IPM strategies to control those pests.
Right. And so why should a farmer use these pheromones instead of their bog standard pesticides?
Pesticides are on the way out. That's a very broad generalization, but as most farmers and agronomists know, every single year, more and more restrictions are being placed on the use of traditional agrochemicals. They're being relicensed, concentrations are being reduced, or they're being outright banned. So there is an argument and a need for new solutions to come forward, biopesticides, pheromone-based solutions to provide another control method for those pests. And importantly, with pheromones and semiochemical use in particular, they are naturally occurring products. So there's no loss of biodiversity. They are targeted to the pest you're looking for in particular. So it has all those, ticks all those boxes for biodiversity net gain and the bits you're looking at as well.
So you would say it's the more environmentally friendly alternative.
That's exactly yeah. So it's environmentally friendly. You're not risking anything like pesticide wash off or anything like this because they're naturally occurring substances.
Right. I'm going to shift more towards looking at the market at the moment. How is the market looking for this kind of pheromones? Are there challenges or is it more opportunities for the synthetic pheromones?
Definitely a mixture of both. There's a lot of opportunities out there. So we have some products for peas currently. We are looking at new pest targets and new pheromones as we move throughout this year. There's a lot of opportunity out there to be able to use these on farm to be able to be better. There's a lot of challenges as well. So in terms, for the UK in particular, in terms of registering a product as a plant protection product, and there's a very defined difference between using a pheromone for monitoring or using a pheromone for pest control. We are stuck with the same pest regulations that your new super chemical would be as well. So that registration process, which could be 5, 7, 10 years to go from inception through trials and ratification and then actually to an authorized product for pest control.
Right. And are your synthetic pheromones, are you just creating them for the UK market, or are you looking more perhaps continentally or even globally?
Globally, so we work all over the world. We have some key customers in Canada. So Canada produces a vast amount of peas and beans and lentils and legume crops. And we have, we're a VC-backed startup. So we have one of our investors as a Canadian investor based in the prairies in Alberta. So one of the largest legume growing areas in the world. We operate in Europe, in South America, and various other places. So the UK is the more challenging market, and that's generally down to the regulations, but also the pest type as well. So PMID, as most of your listeners and readers will know, is a pest, but it's not a huge pest in the UK. There's no reason to say that might not change in coming years, whether climate, pest migrations, those sort of things. But yeah, it's an interesting time.
Yeah. And it's my understanding that you have been working with the PGRO as well.
Indeed, so PGRO did our initial trials and our ratifications for us on our PMID products a couple of years ago now under a smart grant from Innovate UK, and we are looking to work with them again in the future for similar things. So yeah, we work with Becky and Erin. They do all our trial work for us, and we showed some really good results. Been able to reduce crop damage down from 30% to 3% using our pheromone solution.
Wow, brilliant. So you mentioned that you are looking to continue working with PGRO. Is that just continuation of the trials that you've already done? Or are you looking at different kinds of trials? Are there different kinds of trials that you can do with these?
Yes, it is. I can't talk too much about it at the moment, but yes, we are looking to engage PGRO for an upcoming project that will utilise pheromones and some other technology for a new control method going forward, hopefully. Or monitoring method going forward.
Yeah. And putting PGRO aside for a second, just in general, what does the future look like for you guys? Have you got any more investors lined up? Are you in the process of commercialization?
We're in commercial. We closed our seed round at the back end of last year. So we're not looking to do any sort of VC fundraising, hopefully this year. So the focus now is twofold. So commercialization of our existing product range. So we have pheromones available for pea midge, pea leaf weevil, as well as saddle gall midge and orange wheat blossom midge as well. So for the arable sectors. So that's sort of my role as head of sales and commercialization, is to then try and commercialize those products and get some traction behind it. We also have 3 scientists now working directly for us, based here at Rothamsted, but in our labs here, that are now looking at the new pest targets we're looking to target in the future and those new routes. And yeah, part of the challenge is you speak to people and farmers all the time, and everybody's got a new pest or this pest they want to work with. So there's a lot of work in trying to hone down into what those targets could be. For us, especially in the UK market, the way I am trying to take this is a collaborative product. The idea is not just to sell a trap and a pheromone and lead the farmers to it. It's a whole consultative approach to work alongside the farmers and their agronomists to try and make this solution viable on farm. Add some value to money for growers. Ultimately, try to save some time and costs in their traditional pesticide approaches.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining me today. If you want to find out more about PheroSyn and the work that they're doing with synthetic pheromones, you can head over to their website at www.pherosyn.com. You can drop them an email at info@pherosyn.com, or you can find them on LinkedIn or X. That's it for today's episode. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one.